money, wealth, assets, opportunities even that you may lose.
You must ask yourself if you love the people, because the only thing that can bind you to the people you serve is love. Ambition is not enough.
I have discovered the power of kindness, and that has made me a radical optimist. That's why I stay away from politics and from religion.
Countries that take unilateral action or coercive action.
Actually like Pinoy personally.
It's not a beauty contest who's ahead of who, but to...
Once upon a time, we were all irrelevant. And I sincerely believe that there will come a time we will all return to the dark embrace of irrelevance.
Martin's Mancave.
My mother, Natividad Agkawil Albano, was my first art teacher. Create a garden city out of the desert, create a global city out of the desert. People first, or social equity, planet Earth, or the environment, like addressing climate change, prosperity, or economic goals, then triple bottom line plus 2.
We are back. This is Martin's Man Cave here on podcast.ph. My name is Martin Andanar. We are with architect Jun Palafox. Kanina, sir, binabanggit nyo nga yung mga advocacies. And this is basically giving back to society and fighting corruption. And you donate to Kathmandu. And then you did mention also about your seminary experience and how this changed your life and your outlook, no? Pero bago po kayo sumali or pumasok sa seminaryo, well, you also have parents, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about your parents.
Yeah. My parents, my late father, Filipino Palafox Sr., he was a doctor of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
He could have stayed in Manila or the US because he was an honor graduate in medicine, but he opted to be a rural physician in Ilocos.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be why I got from him, like, he was not concerned about being paid. Sometimes the poor don't pay him at all or pay him in kind, like eggs or vegetables. My mother, Natividad Agkawil Albano, was my first art teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them were very, very religious. Like every day, we serve Mass every day.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of it, we are also like sports-minded family and musically inclined family. So our home was always filled with friends who play basketball with us. We had in the house a basketball court, or piano by my sisters. And weekends we go to the beach of Ilocos, and in the beach, my parents were telling me other children would do sandcastles.
Mm-hmm.
I would do cities and communities. The buildings, the rivers, the bridges, the mountains. So when I was name hired, invited to work in Dubai, it was a flashback. Create a garden city out of the desert. Create a global city out of the desert. So it was a quick flashback.
You went to Dubai what year?
After I was hired during Metroplan or invited during 1977.
1977.
Yeah.
So kayo yung una talaga.
We were the first Filipino family there.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first Southeast Asian architect urban planner. My daughter Karima, first Filipino born there, she's also an urban planner. She went to Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
And people ask me, where did the family name come from? And I found out that Palafox is a Catalan. Barcelona, Valencia, Alicante. They may have come with Miguel Lopez de Legazpi in 1571 via Mexico. And they settled mostly from Pangasinan to Ilocos.
So you have your roots in Catalan.
Yeah, and then my mother's side, Agkawili, was my great-grandfather was the last governor of the Spanish colonial and first governor in Ilocos Norte of the American regime. So that's where I come from. My parents planned 12 children.
Okay. And you're the what, eldest or?
I'm number 4. And the 2 were miscarriages. So we were 10 that survived. And different professions now stay living in different countries. But of course, large families, I think there's the sibling rivalries, competitiveness, and so on. And teamwork, sometimes you compete with each other, friendly competition. And there are always people in our house. That's what I remember, because it's not a small house. We even have a basketball court inside and we're just across the church.
This was in Ilocos Norte, no?
Ilocos Norte. And my parents' house were across the church as well. So church every day, 6 o'clock, you must be home for the Angelus, night prayers and so on, and morning prayer. That was the discipline. So when I went to the seminary, most of our mentors were Germans, other Europeans and Americans.
That's high school, no? Seminary.
High school. Christ the King Seminary in Quezon City. SVD, Divine Word.
SVD,
Yeah. And that may have really inculcated in me the discipline, the time management, the values. And in my architectural practice, we don't accept all projects. Maybe we just accept we don't accept maybe 30%. Number 1, when corruption is involved, they even report it. Number 2, when it destroys the environment and it doesn't have any impact on alleviating poverty. So people first, or social equity, planet Earth or the environment, like addressing climate change. Profit, people don't want to hear the word profit, call it prosperity or economic goals. Then triple bottom line +2, culture, history, and heritage, and spirituality. And it's very consciously driven in everything we do.
Triple bottom line.
Triple bottom lines: people, planet, prosperity, profit. I've added the culture, history, and heritage, then spirituality.
Yeah, I'm reading. I've read a book about that, about what you just mentioned. The companies are anchored. Some companies are anchored on those principles, on that the business mindset.
And I tell my colleagues, my staffers, that these core values are like lighthouses. Even in stormy weather, they will always be there, guiding us, even if nobody's looking. And it's a very tough expectation also. And even in our company, like when we put up Palafox Architecture, we culled it from 5 architectural studios. So every time we do a project, there's a friendly competition
within,
and I guide all of them.
Galing naman.
Another one is every project we do, it must be unique, memorable, and identifiable. You can see it in Rockwell and other projects that we've done in Dubai. And what they taught us in architectural schools is there are 4 facades of a building: the front facade, the back facade or rear facade, the left side, the right side. For me, more importantly, is the facade from above. So you can see the dialogue within buildings, how the building connectivity, convergence with the surrounding area. So we go beyond the boundaries of our project.
So you have 5.
How it contributes to the community. And my presentations in Kathmandu caught the attention of members of parliament, the president, and prime minister. They all wanted to meet me. Unfortunately, I have to cut short my visit because the way I explained the schools and the hospital, the way I'm telling you now, before we draw the first line, we have triple bottom line +2, and how the schools would contribute to the lungs of the city because they are so congested. So I have asked that the school campuses would only be 25 to 30% building footprint, 70% is parks and playground, not just for the school but for the whole community.
Galing. Ang galing. Kung lahat ng architect ganun lang mag-isip, di ba? But there's only one Jun Palafox.
Sir. It's not because not everything is monetize. There is this spiritual, psychological income. And one award that I value most is aside from the Heroes of Philanthropy in Asia, during the 60th anniversary of United Nations in, I think, 2006 in New York, I got a pleasant award of Ambassador of Goodwill through Architecture for doing, again, schools for the victims of the big earthquake in Bam, Iran, in a period of conflict. 3 cultures, 3 religions interfaith. Again, the Buddhist organization from Taiwan headquarters, they hired us for the Muslim children of Iran. And they hired me, my company, Catholic Christians from the Philippines. And we got recognitions from during the 60th anniversary of the UN. So these are, I call them psychological income, spiritual income, and it makes me a better person. And I even thank personally the recipient, our beneficiaries, thanking them for the opportunity given me, because without that opportunity, I don't have the opportunity to improve myself, become a better person.
Tell me briefly about your siblings. You mentioned you're 12 and 2 passed on already. So yung 10.
My eldest is a lawyer.
What's his name?
Denny.
Denny.
The second is Larry Palafox. He's a businessman, farmer in Cagayan Valley. Then my doctor sister passed away of cancer. Then me. Then Ding is a chemical engineer based in Davao. Then Francis is now in the US, a civil engineer. Then Joseph, an architect also, but more of a project manager. Then Hildegard is a musician, piano teacher in Australia. Then Lib is a engineer doing projects all over the country. And Cora is in Honolulu, Hawaii. The 2 Mary Josephines were miscarriages.
And who are you closest to?
My late sister, doctor, I came after her, and my sister in Australia, Hildegard, and Lib, my youngest brother. And in fact, when my parents died, I got 10% share of the inheritance. I gave it to my youngest brother because he spent most of his life taking care of my parents when they were aging. All of us were able to work abroad and so on, except him. And so I felt that he deserved my 10%. And my other siblings followed what I did.
How is he?
He's okay. He's in the bundocks of Mindanao, in the dredging rivers. Yeah.
What's your fondest memory of your sister who passed away?
My sister is because we only had 2 years, 2 years apart, and I was closest to her because we could confide each other. She tells me when I'm wrong, I tell her when I'm wrong, and we agree to disagree. And Hildegard, the piano teacher in Canberra, the same. Then Lib, because he took care of my parents, and I was sort of helping them financially to take care of my own parents.
At this age, at this stature that you have right now, that you're on right now, when do you communicate with them?
It's text messaging, Viber, and when both of my parents died, my mother died last year, less opportunities now to get together. But I was hoping the grand reunion for my mother's side, the Kawili side in Ilocos, next week, even cousins from all over the world are joining. But unfortunately, most of my brothers and sisters could not make it. And because it's, I think it's Fiesta in Lawag also. And we just finished also the tourism master plan for Ilocos Norte. And I was told by the governor after the plan, 5 times in tourist arrivals. So they have more present problem now, not enough hotel rooms and so on.
Infrastructure is very important.
Very important. Like Dalawag Airport, I think it should be developed as a northwest gateway to Northeast Asia. And these are the wealthier countries: Japan, Korea, China, Macau, Hong Kong. And it's the closest. Practically is 1 hour to Hong Kong and so on. But I think it's all the defects of imbalanced growth of our country. Imperial Manila, the rest of the country suffers. And one of my advocacies, one of my term papers in Harvard was Manila Bay Region Megalopolis 2020. The 2020 will be one of the largest megalopolis in the world, mega cities, maybe 30 million people. And I advise friends in government that we need 3 international airports by 2020. We did the master plan for the Manila International Airport in 2004 to upgrade it while waiting for Clark to mature. Again, it's one of those do-nothing scenario, unfortunately.
When you were growing up, when you were studying architecture, did you have any idols in the world of architecture? And did you have any professors that you really salute until now? Tell us about your experiences back in college at the University of Santo Tomas. Before you answer that question, let's take a short break. Let's just take a breather. We'll be right back with architect Jun Palafox. Don't go away.
Would you rather be an activist or an architect? So I took a leave of absence from the student activism that time. I'd rather see my mistakes on paper than see it in concrete. Because if you make a mistake in concrete, you're already buried down there. People will be cursing you for that mistake. The doctors can bury their mistakes, but architects, long after you're gone, people will either be admiring you or cursing you for a mistake in concrete, which you cannot erase anymore.